the Punisher is one of the most prolific comic book characters in all of comic book history. When he finds a villain, they don't get a heroic monologue or some speech about what they did wrong. They get a bullet to the head. They die. That's because he doesn't say a word. He doesn't need to say a word to tell them what he's going to do. And because of that, his reputation spread throughout both the villain and hero communities as a man who gets things done. And you can tell he's dangerous because, as Marvel said, people who make no noise are dangerous. And today, I'm going to tell you how that quote presents itself in both competitive, confrontational settings, and how it's affected the media's portrayal of certain tropes and characters. I was a cross-country runner, much like Joe, who ran out of the class. And there was this one guy on my team named Daniel Lee, who you could just tell was going to win each race. He didn't say it. He didn't brag. In fact, he encouraged others on the team not to, because all you need to do was stare at the track, and others would know this is a guy who gets things, who knows what he's going to do, and knows that he can do it. And lo and behold, the moment he got on that track, he flew. He won every race. I've never seen him lose. And experiences that I talk about much less than my running career is that I was in wrestling for about 3 years. There's a man named Martin Miramontes who I never spoke a word to him. He was on my cross-country track and wrestling team, and I never spoke a word to him. But when I saw him on the mat, he would stare at the other guy. There was no back talk. There was no mad dog. He just looked at them, and I knew right then and there that dude was fucked. And again, lo and behold, the moment the bell rang, suplex and pin. Now, the way this quote's been portrayed in media is a monster can roar, and the typical psycho can scream and yell and flash his knife around. But when you see a zombie lumbering towards you in the dark, or see a killer staring at you with murder in his eyes, you don't just feel scared, you feel unsettled. Right? You know they're dangerous because they're showing you. He doesn't need to go, I'm going to kill you, because you know the moment he takes that first step, that's his intent. And the media is really taking that into account with their portrayals of certain horror flicks, like Jason Voorhees. You watch the Friday the 13th movies, he never speaks. It's probably one of the most successful portrayals of a silent killer ever made in cinema history. He doesn't speak, he walks through the forest and he chops your head off when you're not expecting it. So as you can see today, it's important not to flash your words and movements, because all you need to do is let them know body language and how you hold yourself, that you can do what you want to, and others will know. Huh? That's right.
Can I do that today? Do this today?
Yeah, hang on a second here. All right, Aaron, I like the example that you have to get our attention. That's fine, and it connects with your comic book world again, so that's pretty good. You've got a pretty good statement of what your purpose is, and there's a preview of what you're going to be talking about. It's a little ambiguous, but I think it is there, and it does create some structure for us to look forward to. The content arguments are solid. You've got some good illustrations, and you fill in some details pretty well as you go along. I liked some of the stories that you had. I would be a little bit careful about, maybe find another euphemism for being fucked, so that you are not using that kind of language in your speech in front of an audience, because it's just one of those things that the terminology is not professional, and you want to portray yourself in a way that other people are going to be able to appreciate. So that's a minor issue. It's something to watch for. It happens occasionally, and I know that sometimes it seems like it's the appropriate thing to do. Probably best to err on the side of not doing it. Your energy's good. I think the inflection in your voice is solid. The pacing seems okay. I'm conflicted about the gestures because you sometimes seem really engaged and descriptive in what you're doing, and other times you are playing with the ends of your vest and you aren't quite sure what it is you're doing with your hands, and so it feels like all the anxiety is coming out in your hands. And so the gestures, instead of seeming like they're purposeful or indicators or things that are part of the way you're presenting, that seems like where all your nervous energy is coming out. And so that's, I think, the anxiety that's leaking out. Your facial expressions, you're very engaged, and there's a lot of emotional emphasis in the points that you're talking about. I like that. Usually you're looking at the audience pretty regularly. I thought that your stance at the beginning seemed like you were forcefully taking the spot that you were going to speak from. You could move around a little bit more, but you got to be careful about not letting it have the same impact that the gestures have. So maybe holding it in that position seems reasonable. All right, thank you.